I heard the wine glass hit the floor before I heard my sister-in-law say the words that would end my family. Madison doesn't fit the aesthetic we're going for. I was standing in the hallway outside my brother Ryan's dining room, holding a check for $15,000, the final payment for his honeymoon package to Bora Bora. I'd come early to surprise him. Instead, I got the kind of surprise that changes you at a cellular level. Through the crack in the door, I could see Ryan sitting there. Silent. Not defending me. Not saying a single word. His fiancée, Vanessa, kept talking. I mean, she's sweet and all, but she doesn't photograph well. My wedding is going to be perfect, Ryan. Magazine perfect. And your sister in those clothes she wears? It'll ruin the cohesion. The check was still in my hand. I looked down at it, at my signature, at the memo line where I'd written for your happy beginning. I folded it once. Twice. Then I turned around and walked out of that house as quietly as I'd entered. They never heard me leave. But they would hear from me soon enough. Let me back up, because this didn't start with a wedding. It started 28 years ago when Ryan was born and I became the person whose only job was to make sure he succeeded. Our parents died in a car accident when I was 19 and Ryan was 11. I was in my second year of college, working part-time at a call center, barely keeping my head above water. But I didn't have a choice. I became his guardian. I dropped out. I worked 3 jobs: day shift at a medical billing company, evenings at a restaurant, weekends doing bookkeeping for small businesses. I moved us into a 1-bedroom apartment in Columbus, Ohio, and I slept on the couch for 7 years while Ryan got the bedroom, the privacy, the chance to just be a kid. If this hits home for you, tell me where you're watching from. Drop a comment if you've ever had to grow up too fast for someone you loved. I made sure he had everything. New shoes every school year. A laptop for high school. Tutoring when his grades slipped. I even saved enough to help him with college. He went to Ohio State, lived on campus, had the full experience I never got. And he graduated. Got a good job in marketing. Met Vanessa, who came from money, old Columbus money, the kind with a family name on a hospital wing. I was proud of him. I thought we were close. I was wrong. It started small. Vanessa would make little comments. Oh, Madison, you're still doing medical billing? That's so stable. You should let me take you shopping sometime. I know some great places that are, affordable. Ryan would laugh. Not a defending laugh. An agreeing laugh. I told myself it didn't matter. I told myself Vanessa was just particular. High maintenance. That Ryan was happy, and that's what mattered. Then came the engagement party 6 months ago. Vanessa's parents hosted it at their country club in Upper Arlington, the kind of place with a valet and cloth napkins that probably cost more than my grocery bill. I wore my best dress, the black one I save for funerals and job interviews, and I showed up with a bottle of wine and a smile. Vanessa's mother took one look at me and said, "Oh, you must be the help. The kitchen is around back." I stood there, frozen, holding my wine bottle like an idiot. Ryan was 10 feet away. He heard her. I know he did, because his face went red and he looked at the floor. But he didn't correct her. Vanessa swooped in, all fake sweetness. "No, Mom, this is Ryan's sister. Madison, right? Come on, we'll find you a seat." She led me to a table in the back corner, next to the bathroom, away from family, away from the speeches, away from everything. I sat there for 3 hours, smiling, pretending I didn't notice. But I noticed. 2 months before the wedding, I still hadn't received an invitation. I asked Ryan about it over coffee, my treat, like always. We met at a cafe in German Village, and I tried to keep it casual. Hey, so, when's the RSVP deadline? I haven't gotten my invitation yet. Might have gotten lost in the mail? Ryan looked into his latte like it held the answers to the universe. Yeah, about that, he said. Vanessa and I have been talking, and we're keeping the wedding really small. Like, immediate family only. I blinked. I am immediate family, Ryan. I'm your sister. I'm your only family. I know, Maddie, but Vanessa's family is huge, and we're trying to keep the numbers down, and it's complicated. Complicated how? He wouldn't look at me. That's when I knew. Comment below if you've ever felt invisible to the people you sacrificed everything for. Tap like if this is hitting too close to home. I didn't push. I paid for his coffee, gave him a hug that he barely returned, and I went home and cried for the first time in years. But crying doesn't pay bills. And it doesn't solve problems. So I did what I always do, I started planning. That brings us back to the hallway. To the check in my hand. To Vanessa's voice, sharp and certain. She doesn't fit the aesthetic. I stood there for another 30 seconds, listening. Vanessa continued. Besides, she's kind of, I don't know, sad? Like, she's still in that tiny apartment, still doing the same boring job. I don't want my wedding photos filled with people who look like they shop at Target. Ryan finally spoke. His voice was quiet. Tired. She raised me, Vanessa. I know, babe, and that's sweet. But this is our day. Our moment. We can celebrate with her some other time. Maybe a dinner after the honeymoon or something. Silence. Then Ryan, okay. Yeah. You're right. I didn't wait to hear more. I walked to my car, sat in the driver's seat, and stared at that check for a long time. $15,000. Money I'd saved over 2 years, working overtime, skipping vacations, eating ramen so I could give my little brother the honeymoon of his dreams. I ripped it into pieces. Tiny, careful pieces. Then I opened my banking app and canceled the check I'd written 3 weeks earlier for the deposit on their honeymoon villa. That was just the beginning. Here's the thing nobody knew. I owned Ryan's house. 5 years ago, when he graduated college, he wanted to buy a place. He had some savings, but not enough for a down payment in Columbus's market. I had been saving, my someday fund, the money I thought I'd use to go back to school or maybe travel. I gave him $60,000. The entire fund. But I didn't just give it to him. I'm not stupid. I put my name on the deed. Co-owner. He promised he'd buy me out someday, when he could afford it. I said sure, no rush, we're family. He forgot about it. I'm guessing he never told Vanessa. But I didn't forget. I drove home from Ryan's house that day and I pulled out the deed. I called my friend Laura, who's a real estate attorney, and I asked her a simple question. If I'm a co-owner on a property and I want out, what are my options? Laura was quiet for a second. Then, you can force a sale. It's called a partition action. If the co-owner can't buy you out, the court orders the property sold and the proceeds split. How long does that take? If you file right now? You could have a court date in 8 weeks. 8 weeks. The wedding was in 10. Subscribe if you want to see where this goes. And comment below, would you have done the same? I started small. First, I called the resort in Bora Bora. I explained that I was the one who'd made the reservation, that my credit card was on file, and that I needed to cancel due to unforeseen circumstances. The manager was kind. Of course, Miss Madison. We're sorry to hear that. You'll receive a full refund within 7 business days. Thank you. I hung up. Then I called the travel agency that had booked their flights, their resort transfers, their couples massage packages, their private sunset dinner on the beach. All under my name. All paid with my card. I canceled everything. By the time I was done, Ryan and Vanessa's dream honeymoon had evaporated. And they didn't even know yet. I filed the partition action 3 days later. Laura helped me with the paperwork. We kept it clean, professional, and airtight. I wasn't asking for anything unreasonable, I just wanted my share of the house. The court summons was served to Ryan at his office on a Tuesday afternoon. He called me 17 times that night. I didn't answer. On the 18th call, I picked up. Madison, what the hell is this? I kept my voice calm. Steady. It's exactly what it says, Ryan. I'm a co-owner of your house. I want out. You can either buy me out or we sell. You can't do this right now. The wedding is in 2 months. You should have thought about that before you decided I wasn't good enough to attend. Silence. Long and heavy. Vanessa told you. No, Ryan. You told me. By saying nothing. Ryan and Vanessa tried everything. First, they tried to guilt me. Ryan showed up at my apartment at 11 at night, begging me to stop the lawsuit. Maddie, please. We'll invite you. I'm sorry. Vanessa's sorry. This is insane. I looked at him through the crack in my door. You had months to invite me, Ryan. You had years to treat me like I mattered. I'm done. We can't afford to buy you out right now. We've spent everything on the wedding. Then I guess you'll have to sell. Next, Vanessa tried. She called me, crying, saying she'd made a mistake, that she was under so much pressure, that she loved me like a sister. I let her talk. Then I said, if you loved me like a sister, you would have treated me like one. And I hung up. If you've ever had to stand your ground against people who only valued you when it was convenient, drop a comment. Let me know I'm not alone in this. The court date was set for 6 weeks out, 2 weeks before the wedding. But things started falling apart faster than that. Vanessa's parents, who were paying for most of the wedding, found out about the lawsuit. They were livid, not at Vanessa, but at Ryan. They didn't want their daughter marrying someone with legal troubles and financial instability. They threatened to pull their funding. Ryan and Vanessa started fighting. I know because Ryan's neighbor, Mrs. Chin, goes to my gym, and she told me she could hear them screaming through the walls. Then Vanessa found out about the honeymoon. She called the resort to confirm details and they told her there was no reservation under their names. She called me, hysterical. You canceled our honeymoon? I canceled my gift, I said. I funded that trip, Vanessa. Every dollar. And I'm not funding a honeymoon for people who think I'm not good enough to watch them get married. You're a petty, bitter. I hung up. The hearing was quick. Ryan showed up with a lawyer he clearly couldn't afford. I showed up with Laura and a file full of documents, proof of my down payment, the deed, records of every expense I'd covered over the years. The judge looked at Ryan. Can you buy out your sister's share? No, Your Honor. Do you have any legal reason why this property shouldn't be sold? It's my home. I've lived there for 5 years. That doesn't change the law, Mr. Hayes. The partition is granted. You have 90 days to arrange a sale or the court will appoint a referee to handle it. Ryan's face went pale. I didn't feel victorious. I felt tired. But I also felt free. Tap like if you think I did the right thing. Subscribe for more stories like this, because I'm not done yet. Ryan and Vanessa postponed the wedding. They couldn't afford it anymore, between legal fees, the stress, and Vanessa's parents pulling half their funding until things stabilize. The big magazine perfect wedding was impossible. They ended up doing a small ceremony at a courthouse 2 months later. Vanessa's family came. A few friends. I wasn't invited to that one either. But I didn't care anymore. The house sold in 43 days. A young couple with a baby bought it, paid asking price, closed fast. I got my $60,000 back, plus my share of the equity, another $42,000. Ryan got his share and moved into a rental with Vanessa. Smaller. Cheaper. Further from her parents. He didn't call me after the closing. I didn't call him either. I ran into Ryan at a grocery store in Clintonville. We both froze in the aisle, him holding a box of cereal, me holding a bag of apples. For a second, I thought he'd walk away. But he didn't. Hey, Maddie. Hey. We stood there, awkward, the way strangers do. How are you? He asked. I'm good. You? We're okay. Vanessa's pregnant. We're figuring it out. I nodded. Congratulations. Thanks. He paused. Looked at his shoes. I'm sorry, Maddie. For everything. I should have stood up for you. I should have. I don't know. Been better. I took a breath. Yeah. You should have. Do you think we can ever fix this? I looked at my little brother, the kid I raised, the kid I sacrificed everything for, the kid who became a man I didn't recognize. I don't know, Ryan. Maybe someday. But not today. He nodded. I understand. I walked past him, paid for my apples, and left. Here's the truth I didn't want to face. You can love someone with everything you have and still not be enough for them. I spent years thinking that if I just sacrificed more, gave more, loved more, Ryan would see my value. That he'd protect me the way I protected him. But love isn't currency. Sacrifice doesn't buy loyalty. And sometimes, the people you save don't save you back. I don't regret raising Ryan. I don't regret the years I gave up or the money I spent. Those were my choices, and I made them out of love. But I also don't regret walking away. Because the moment I heard Vanessa say I didn't fit the aesthetic, and the moment Ryan stayed silent, I realized something. I was never going to fit their version of family. And I didn't want to. I wanted to fit my own. Comment below if you've ever had to choose yourself over people who didn't choose you. Let me know what you would have done differently, or if you think I went too far. I used the money from the house sale to go back to school. I'm finishing my degree in accounting, part-time, online. It's slow, but it's mine. I also moved into a bigger apartment. 1 bedroom. My own space. No couch sleeping. No sacrifices for people who won't say my name at their wedding. I'm learning what it feels like to build a life for me. And honestly, it feels good. Do I miss Ryan? Sometimes. I miss the kid he was. I miss the version of us that existed before Vanessa, before the wedding, before I realized I was an accessory he could remove when I didn't match the decor. But I don't miss the person he became. And I won't apologize for refusing to shrink myself to fit into someone else's perfect picture. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever been the person who gave everything and got nothing back, hit that subscribe button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And drop a comment letting me know you're here. There's a saying I heard once, don't set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. I set myself on fire for years. I burned through my youth, my education, my dreams, all to keep Ryan warm, safe, stable. And when the time came for him to return even a fraction of that warmth, he chose someone else's comfort over mine. So I stopped burning. I didn't blow out his flame out of cruelty. I just stopped feeding it with my own. That's not revenge. That's survival. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening. Thank you for seeing me, even when my own brother couldn't. This is my story. My truth. My line in the sand. And I'm finally okay with it. One last thing, comment Madison below if you'd do the same thing. Let's build a community of people who know their worth and refuse to settle for less.